Right guys, welcome back to the channel and to the first episode of the Dark Artisan 40k podcast. Tonight I am joined by Patreon Mr. James Ellis. James, thank you very much for joining us.
Absolute pleasure, mate. Good to be here.
Some people might recognise that voice if you watch Tabletop Tactics. You recently played against B-Bone himself.
Did, it's a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I laugh a lot at Tabletop Tactics, but that game, I laughed at a lot, man.
Cheers, man. I'm definitely coming up. I promise next year I'll be coming up with a couple of armies and we'll have a good few games. I promise.
Good. It's just a shame you're like 6 hours away.
yes, it's a bit of a pain.
Yeah, the joys of living north of the wall, eh? But nevertheless, thank you very much, James, for joining us. Guys, if you are interested in listening to the podcast, it should now be available on iTunes. It is on Spotify and, of course, Anchor FM. You can also listen and watch on YouTube as well. As this is the 40k podcast this week, we are going to be discussing the Psychic Awakening books. There's currently two out, but I have the third one here. And the three next ones have been announced as well, James.
Yes. Some interesting things going on, I think.
Absolutely. So, we've got Psychic Awakening, Phoenix Rising, Faith and Fury, and of course Blood of Baal. And the recently announced ones, which are apparently getting a full reveal on Christmas Day, is Ritual of the Damned, rumoured to be the Grey Knights, the Dark Angels, and the Thousand Suns.
That'd be good. The Grey Knights are crying out.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had some fairly huge points drops through chapter approved.
Doesn't
they
fix them, though, does it?
No, not at all. But hopefully this will give them some tools to compete. If they get some form of doctrines, that'll be very, very interesting.
Absolutely. I mean, even the tactical doctrine with the weight of Stormbolt of Fire that they can get would help massively. I mean, Lawrence has tried with Grey Knights and failed.
Yeah.
To make them work. And you know what? 2 CP for +1 strength and -1 AP on your Stormbolters.
That's ridiculous.
It is.
Well, I'm hoping one of the things they address is the command points cost of a lot of their stratagems.
Oh god, yeah, they are way. The thing is though, that book was, I think, was the 3rd codex that come out in 8th edition, and it's the only one that actually hasn't had a proper update.
True.
Actually, yeah. Technically, no AdMech haven't either. They were really early, but
I don't think. In fairness to AdMech, compared to Grey Knights, they haven't needed it. There's some really juicy things in the AdMech Codex that it took a lot of people a long time to figure out. And actually, as the meta's changed, certain things in that Codex has become more powerful. And so the Grey Knights, all that's happened with them is
like they've literally
just
had
got worse.
Like at least the AdMech have had the Scorpius Disintegrator, and of course the flyer that was announced last week.
I like the new flyer. I think it looks good.
I love it. I think
it
looks fantastic.
Good. Yeah, I'm really happy with the new AdMech stuff. I know a lot of people are down on the old Dunkirk boat, as everyone calls it. I really like.
I was not a fan, right? Lucy doesn't really play 40k, but she was like, you know what, that's actually quite cool. And I was like, is it really though?
It grows on you, I think, that one. It's like you have to look at it a few times, and then you actually look at it and I think it's one of those weird models that actually when you have it in the army, it looks better.
It's much better in person than what it is in photos. So the fact that Dark Angels are also getting an update there is good, because let's face it, their chapter trait is pants.
Yeah.
It does not benefit them. Or if you stay still, you get to reroll ones. Great. Yeah. Well, if I stay still, I've got Azrael nearby. I can reroll everything.
Yeah. It makes no sense.
Terminators. Or if I stay still, I can reroll ones to hit. Great, but I've just teleported in.
Yeah, the last thing they want to do is stand still.
Bikes, great. I can stay still and reroll ones to shoot. I'm on a bike.
Yeah, I think they're going to be another interesting. We give them some chapter doctrines and what they're going to add to that already. Okay, they're very mediocre chapter trait. I'll be very interested in what they do to tweak that, because obviously the Blood Angels got a few extra bits and pieces with theirs, and they're first being improved, and that I'd be very interested in what they do with Dark Angels.
I think Dark Angels should have 3 separate traits, like what the Dark Eldar Codex has. They should have the Deathwing trait, do whatever, I don't know. Terminators always count as remaining stationary or something like that. like the old Relentless rule from 7th. And then Raven Wing, I don't know, like +1 to advance and charge or something like that.
Something that gives them jink. Like, I know they've got the jinx. It's a jinx stratagem, isn't there, for them?
Yes.
But I think something that gives them a base jink would make them a very interesting choice, because they've had a little tweak in Chapter Approved, but it's still probably not enough for the Black Knights.
The problem with the Dark Angels is that the chapter trait does not help any of them.
No.
I think if going off the Blood of Baal book is anything to go by as well, the Sanguinary Priest with a jump pack actually got his own entry, which he was previously an index entry. I'm hoping, kind of like what they did with the White Scars book with Khan on bike, where they actually say, yes, this is a valid data slate, you can take a Dark Angel Librarian on bike.
Yeah, that'd be really
They need to do that. As far as Thousand Suns go, I wouldn't say they're terrible.
There's some very competitive bits. All right, when you're talking competitive Thousand Suns, you're generally talking a Supreme Command detachment of Ahriman and either Sorcerers on discs or Demon Princes.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But anything, what really needs to happen for those is for the basic Marines to get a bit more of a buff, because I actually think the Marines with their Uber Bolters are actually pretty damn good.
They are, but I don't think you should have to take 10 models to get their special weapon. It's a bit silly.
That would be interesting as well. Yeah, no, I agree. I think it would be nice if they dropped that. I don't know if they're going to, but I think if you gave them a few more tweaks, the same with the Death Guards to a degree. If whatever happened to them again, if they had a few more tweaks and stuff, because again they're very resilient. Couple more things just to make them a bit more interesting, and then you've got something that can challenge the Base Marines.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as far as the Cycle Awakening books that have come out go, you're obviously primarily a Harlequin player, but you're very much into your Eldar and stuff.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts now, sort of 2 months down the line, for Rise of Phoenix Rising?
I think, and probably with a lot of Eldar players, we were disappointed we didn't get anything to match what was currently out there with a lot of things. I think there were some very juicy things that came out of that book, the first one. Certainly giving the choices with the Crimson Hunter Exarchs. Like, I've been rolling with the dropping marksmans and then going for the +1 to hit with your heavy weapons, so you don't suffer the bonus when moving.
But you can also pay CP and actually get the benefit of both.
I haven't done it yet, but mainly because I keep forgetting. But yeah, you can do that. And actually, but I've not really ever needed it particularly. Like, I might have dropped 1, but just having that ability to hit on a 2+ when you're at full strength, it's just been so good. And that I think that's probably one of the strongest. I think the Shining Spears had one of the other strongest with that, the giving their Exarch the +1 to their save.
Yeah, so he's got a flat 3 up.
Yeah, and then there's one of the new psychic abilities you could increase that, or one of the old, I know there's an old one you can do it, but I thought there's something you can do with one of the new psychic powers as well. So basically you can get a Shining Spear with a 2+ invuln, which is ridiculous. So and it's you can make it rerollable. So you've got a rerollable 2+ invuln on Shining Spears. I think you can, until they may well FAQ that, so that can't happen. Shining Spears are back with a vengeance, especially now again with their points drop.
They went down again.
Yeah, only a little bit, not huge about, but again I think they needed it because only Yunari was making them uber. They were a good unit,
and of course, no one's playing Yunari now.
I think you might see a slight resurgence with Yunari. I mean, are they going to get something extra in this?
Well, technically they got their own codex, if you count the fact that the War Scrolls are actually in that book.
Yeah, true. But and their characters went down as well, which is really good. Like their characters are now really interesting in armies. The Visarch dropping, well, all 3 of them dropped. The Incarn is actually now a really interesting choice for any Eldari army, just to slot him in because he's a beat stick. You can, and he scares people, so people put fire into that. I think the problem with the Eldar through the whole lot, the Drukhari and the Harlequins and everybody, is that The Craftwell's Codex and the Drukhari Codex were both very strong codexes. So many of the units in through them were useful, whereas a lot of take Necrons, you've got Immortals and Doomsday Arcs, essentially it.
Yeah.
Tau, you've got Triptide, Commanders are good, drones. Broadsides, but it's still even broadsides. You're not seeing a hell of a lot. You're more seeing trip Riptides, lots of drones, and Commanders to pump out some shots. There's a few things. Even the AdMech, all right, they've got the Rusty 17 now, which has come later on, and it's still very good. But you haven't got huge quantities of things through that you think, oh, do you know what? This is uber competitive. This is uber competitive. You've got a lot of little things that work well. And I think the Craftworlds one was essentially a really good codex. Like, everything was good. Yeah. So when Ynnari came out, you were taking Reapers, you were taking Shining Spears, you were taking Guardian, you were taking all sorts of things that then they had to readdress because of the Ynnari codex. And then for the actual basic Craftworlds codex, everything was overcosted. Yeah. Like Dark Reapers, I run a unit of 9 to 10, and do you know what? Very rarely do they do something incredible. They chip away at things. They're okay, but it's that double shot, so you can take half the size unit and fire them twice. Yeah, that's absolutely what made them amazing. And they just, without that, they're a solid choice, but they're nothing incredible. And now again, they've had a slight points drop, which actually again I think they needed. I think a lot of the stuff that everyone's going, oh, they're dropping that again. Yeah, because it's in a pure Craftworld codex now. It needs to be dropped, so it's now viable. I mean, you talk about that. The best one from the Dark Reapers is the one that re-rolls the Exarch's amount of shots for the Tempest launcher. I think if you take, and I'm gonna redo my Craftworlds and give them a repaint and run them as my own. Again, I don't think many of the Craftworld traits were particularly amazing. Same with a lot of the Drukhari stuff. There's a lot of little interesting bits and pieces.
Some of the Drukhari ones were interesting. For example, Dark Technomancers for the Covens.
I want to try that. And there's the bit. Is that the one with what's the one that gives the racks on a fire up they do a mortal wound? Is that?
I don't remember exactly what that one was called, but the one that I liked was to go +1 to wound. And there was a Cabal trait as well, which was similar to Cabal of the Black Heart in the sense that your vehicles got you in a suffer and roll. However, you lost access to the Vex Stratagem, you lost access to Labyrinthine Cunning, and you lost access to Writ of the Living Muse. But your poison being 2 damage was fantastic.
See, that's one of the ones I want to try, because to be honest, I run Blackheart for my Drukhari to attack. Well, to be honest, actually, most of the time I run Flayed Skull because of the extra range and the ignore cover. It's ignore when you shoot, and it's one of my favourite things is when you shoot Ravagers into Space Marines, Raven Guard in cover, and those snipers in camo cloaks. They go, "Oh, I've got cover," and you go, "No, no, you don't, not anymore." Because I'm doing Flayed Skull. Flayed Skull's awesome. I think it's my favourite one. But I'm going to try playing around with a couple of them. I've tweaked mine. The ability to give make one of your weapons stronger. Yeah. I think that's really good. I like the one with the racks. I'd like to run a big rack-based one where you just chuck loads of racks into the equation and just try and do as many mortal wounds on units as you can. Yeah. I think that might be a lot of fun to play around with, and racks being quite cheap anyway.
I do need more racks. I've only actually got 10 because I used to run Scalpel Squadron back in 7th.
I've got 20. And I would like to. I've got 50 witches that I need to paint. And I think actually the witches probably did the best. There's some really good ones out of the witches one. But the problem with the Cabal's one is that people are always going to compare the other ones to Blackheart, Flayed Skull. Yeah. And I think when you've got something so powerful, it's difficult to want to risk playing, and especially if you're playing competitively. Like if you're playing with your mates, then try them out. And that's where you should be trying it, because you're going to come up, and this is where people are going to come up with these amazing combinations of stuff that just wreck face. because people go, oh, geez, I didn't. Because it's the ability to have 2 different ones can make something incredibly strong.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm going to certainly be working my through. I'm at the moment, I've got 6 grotesques to paint as well, because I think they've had a 3-point drop in chapter approved.
And they're so good.
Yeah, I heard that Talos had gone up, but I'm not sure. That no one else has been talking about it. But I don't, whether it was just a poor leak, but I saw one where their Talos had gone up a bit. Obviously.
Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't we have a look?
Have a look. So I'd heard they'd gone up, and I wouldn't have been surprised with them going up because Talos are brilliant. But do you know what? Talos melt under Marines at the moment.
Oh God, absolutely. Like toughness 7 with a 5 up invo and 6 up feeling pain is not that hard to get through. It's a dreadnought.
Yeah, and if you put Urine with them, they go up by a toughness strength. And
No. That is toughness 7.
Oh, it's with the sorry, yes, but they go up to 4 up involved, and that still doesn't make any difference. Doesn't make any difference. I lost to Ultramarine, an Ultramarine successor, because you normally run Ultramarines as a successor now. 4 Talos in 1 turn, just from intercessor fire.
Mm-hmm.
It was ridiculous. Like they just, I was incredibly unlucky with my rolls. I couldn't make a 6 up feel no pain to save my life. But yeah, they just absolutely melted.
So Talos is 75 points base.
Yeah.
You normally take a macro scalpel.
Yeah.
Which is 4 points. That's 79.
Chain flail.
Chain flail, which is 3 points.
And the haywire.
Twin haywire blaster. Oh, it's not there. Or is it just 2 haywire blasters, which is 8 points each? So 16, 23. No, they're 98 points.
Okay, well that's nice. I wasn't expecting that.
Ravages went up though.
Yeah,
which is crap. It's the only decent like.
But it wasn't and also Razor Wings went up as well, which is basically your DC platform. So I was surprised, and I think a lot of people were surprised. I think everybody thought DCs were going to go up.
Mm-hmm.
Which, do you know what? You see them everywhere. That's why I'm surprised Talos didn't go up, if I'm honest, because I think everybody was convinced Talos would go up because it's either Covens or Cabal. And I think everyone was really surprised they didn't go up. There was a lot of weird things that didn't go up. I mean, obviously Exarchs went up again a bit, but yeah, all right, they went up a bit, but I don't think too badly. I think they went up fairly. I think it's what a lot of people say with the buffs they've got with some other abilities that they went up a bit. Well, they didn't go up enough. I'm going to try my Exarchs with the 5 up invuln. I haven't tried that one yet, so I think that might be quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, listen, it was the first installment of Psychic Awakening.
Yeah,
it was nice.
Yeah, I think
everybody. For the first book, it was nice.
Everybody was, because that come straight after the Space Marine codexes plus the supplements, and I think everybody was thinking, right, we're going to be getting some of that action,
and then you just didn't.
And then you really didn't. So it's a weird one. I think I said to you before, I wonder whether the Psychic Awakening books were mostly written before that Marine Codex had come out.
Well, on that subject, Faith and Fury, it does include the Black Templar supplement in there. But
True.
Not only do you now need the Space Marine Codex to play your army, plus you supplement, you now need Faith and Fury as well. So there's 3 books.
And they said they would get rid of all the books.
They did. Now, in my opinion, right, Marines did not need more.
No. We've been talking about this a lot at the club because we play quite competitive games. So the guys, like to this stage where 2 of the guys who are excellent players now refuse to play their Marines. They just won't play them because it's just not fun. It's boring. It's a boring army to play because it's rolling dice. And you've got armies like Raven Guard that are powerful but require a lot of thought and positioning. They're and same with White Scars, and I think the same will be, you can say, with Blood Angels. I think they're going to be an army that you really have to think about because you're planning for that turn 3 when you can get the assault doctrine out.
Yeah.
Iron Hands is plug and play. Like there's very little skill in Iron Hands. Salamanders.
Oh, by the way, Iron Hands already great. Yes, they nerfed them a little bit, but as if to say, oh, by the way, sorry we nerfed you. Here, have a Tech Marine that is a master of the Forge that can do all sorts of stuff on top of it.
I forgot about the Tech Marine upgrade as well. And the Chapter Ancient's got an upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
I think essentially every one of the sort of secondary and tertiary characters have got upgrades through as well, which I think, do you
know what's interesting though? It specifically quotes that Blood Angels cannot use them,
which I find a bit weird. Now they've got the doctrines.
Exactly.
The thing is about the Blood Angels is actually now, with the Red Thirst as it is, you can still use Blood Angels as a really powerful super army.
Oh yeah, because you're not losing anything other than doctrines.
Yeah, which isn't the end of the world, because
the fact that you can still take a Smash Captain and go, oh, look, I've got the Angel's Wing and I only need an 8-inch to charge now.
And you can and you can upgrade a bog standard guys. So you can take an Intercessor Sergeant with a Thunderhammer and give him a 4 damage Thunderhammer.
Yep. Yeah.
Do you know what Intercessors are? And I know everyone's down on the Death Company Intercessors.
Oh God, I loved my. I shouldn't have charged Custodes, but really, against anything else, right? Death Company Intercessors are brutal.
I just think that they need better combat weapons, and I think you need because I had this brilliant. Well, it wasn't probably not a brilliant idea, but I had an idea because at the time they were just talking about the ability for them to have Thunderhammers, and obviously the Death Company don't have sergeants, so we're like, well, does that mean you'll be able to get 5 intercessors with 5 Thunderhammers? And I was like, all right, what you do is you chuck them in impulsors, you get them up the board, you jump them out of the impulsors, you hide them behind them, and then you charge them out the following turn, and they'll kill a knight.
Yeah.
Like they'd be, but then you obviously now it turns out you can only have 1. But then that's still a platform to get a Thunderhammer into combat. And to be honest, with the bog standard, you don't have to make them Death Company because you usually use bog standard intercessors and just give the sergeant either a Power Fist or a Thunderhammer, and that's still another anti-armor
that you can't snipe.
Yeah, you can't get rid of him. I'm thinking where Blood Angels is going to be really good are obviously the old school Death Company. Sanguinary Guard.
So much better.
And Invicta Warsuits. There you go. You got 3. You've got. What are you going to do if someone pops 3 Invicta Warsuits up in your grill, then gets the Forlorn Furies, a big blob of 15 Death Company up?
Yeah.
You've got Astrath doing 2 litanies.
Yeah.
You get him up, push him and he's got a good old move on him. He can get.
You can still upon the wings of fire though.
Yeah. Where's your threat? On turn 1 for a charge is everywhere, and then you have a unit of Sanguinary Guard as backup
to come in on turn 3 and smash face.
Yeah, I think Blood Angels are really, really interesting now. I think they've always been fairly good.
The only issue I've got with the new rules, right, is yes, turn 3 is great.
Yeah.
But survive till turn 3.
But that's where you've got to have now. The way you've got to look at your Blood Angels army is you've got to build multiple threats.
You've got to have a hammer and an anvil. You need the tough core to be your anvil, and the hammer comes down in turn 3.
Yeah, definitely. But I just think if you've got, say, basically you push up, you've got your Death Company. Say you're playing Orcs, you can reliably pump your Death Company into 2 big units of Orcs and probably kill them both.
I killed a squad of 30 with 7 Clone Berserkers that didn't fight twice.
Yeah. So you've got your Victor Warsuits, so they're pushing up. They charge another unit. So far you've probably taken out most of an Orc stream.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least, very least, held it up. The Death Company, then, if you're smart and you're able to, you try and wrap the Death Company.
Yeah.
All right. You've got an ability now to increase the Feel No Pain on the Death Company. You transhuman physiology them. they're going to take some killing.
You've got Gene Wrought Might, which means any 6s to hit auto wound, I think it was.
Yep. So now they've got to put a lot of work into killing your Death Company. While they're trying to do that, you've still got a strong fire base that's taking stuff out in the Devastator Doctrine.
Do you know what the good thing is? We've still got access to Killshot.
I was wondering whether they did.
We've still got access to it. There's your backline for turn 1.
Yep. You've got Leviathan Dreadnought. You've got Chaplain. You've got your Librarian Dreadnought, and you halve your damage on it. You've got a Chaplain Dreadnought. Can Blood Angels have access to the Forge World Chaplain Dreadnoughts?
Yes.
There you go, Character Dreadnought. You've got 2 Character Dreadnoughts.
Well, technically, you want at least that. You want the Librarian Dreadnought in there with the Sarcophagus, because he's instantly a better Psyker than anybody else in the Blood Angel book. Even Mephiston, which I was sad Mephiston didn't get a 3rd power to cast. He knows 3, but can only cast 2, which I was sad at.
But I reckon what you do with Mephiston is you use him as a sniper. So Mephiston now...
Why not take a Librarian Dreadnought for 3 points less?
I still like Mephiston. I love
Mephiston. He's so good, right?
He's strength 10.
The Dreadnought is strength 10 or 12.
I still think... How many attacks has the Dreadnought got, though?
4, I think it's got base.
So what's Mephiston's now? 6?
Yes, but Shock Assault on the Dreadnought.
Shock Assault Mephiston.
Red Rampage.
Red Rampage of Mephiston.
Unleash Rage.
Unleash Rage. No,
and Sanguinor.
Take both.
No, listen. He's got 2. Mephiston has 2 more attacks. I'll give you that, right? What's his damage?
It's D3, isn't it?
What's the Librarian's damage?
I can't remember.
3, possibly 4 if you take Artisan of War.
Yes. Yeah. No. It's a take.
What's the AP of Mephiston's sword?
-3.
Yeah. What's the AP of a Force Halberd?
Probably -4, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you are right. I just like Mephiston. I like the new model.
Mate, I totally agree. Rule of cool, Mephiston all the way. Practicality on the battlefield, Librarian Dreadnought.
And do you know the model I'd use? Isn't that the Blood Angel Forge World Dreadnought with the big long halberd?
No, that's a Custodes one. It's the one that I use. He's the Custodes. I think he's the Achilles Dreadnought.
That's the one I use.
And I might not have given him Vampire Wings.
No, I love the Vampire Wings. But that's the one I saw that ages ago, and I thought, do you know what that is? That looks awesome. Do you know what I think you may see a bit more now?
What?
Is the Death Company Dreadnoughts.
Yes. They dropped it. They dropped 10 points. Do you know what? Blood Talons are decent. You reroll hits and wounds.
And they are, again, if you can... And somebody was saying it was a brilliant tactic, actually, is you either put Sanguinary Guard and a Dreadnought in a...
Storm Raven.
You fly it up, let them blow it up, auto-blow it up, do D6 wounds to everybody.
And then shoot again.
And shoot again, then drop everybody out. You've got... Yeah, all right, you may lose a couple here and there, but you've got a massive threat base in the middle of their army, and you've already chewed them up with mortal wounds. And shot.
Yeah.
Right, answer me this. The shoot again strategy for the vehicle, is that one weapon?
It's one weapon.
See, someone screwed me at a tournament and they fired all their weapons.
No.
on an Executioner.
I've got it here. It is definitely one weapon. Give me a second.
A few people have said the same thing, but I thought, actually, do you know what?
So, Vengeance of the Machine Spirit. Use this strategy when a Blood Angel Land Raider, Repulsor, or Storm Raven gunship model from your army is destroyed. That model can either automatically explode, shoot with one of its ranged weapons as if it was the shooting phase, or make one attack as if it was the fight phase.
Dan, you cheated me. You cheated me. No, it was. I blew up his Executioner turn 1. It was Ultra Wing Successor versus my soup list.
Yeah.
And fired. He took out a unit of bikes, a plane. I think he mauled another unit of bikes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, damn it, and it really hurt.
Yeah, no, that's not a thing. But no, I think with access to kill shots still,
Yeah.
I think 3 predators on the back line. I think intercessors are good for Blood Angels. They really are good for Blood Angels.
Yep.
Scouts
are still really good for Blood Angels.
I still think. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you can squeeze them in and get a power fist or thunderhammer on a sergeant in every squad, fantastic. But the issue that I've got with Blood Angels, right, is Descent of Angels is 2 CP. Why do Night Lords get 1 for 1 CP in Faith and Fury?
Because there's never been any link between what one army gets for stratagems that are similar to others. That's the problem.
Now I can kind of understand it now that we get +1, but then why would we spend 2 CP when we already have a better charge than the Night Lords? Yeah. I don't know. But the rest of the stuff that's in Faith and Fury, right? Obviously, we diverted into Blood of Baal there.
Already,
but the stuff that's in Faith and Fury, right? Space Marines did not need all that stuff. I'm not even going to cover all of that because it's silly. The Tech Marine for Iron Hands is silly.
Iron Hands are just silly. Like we've already addressed that. Well, we've mentioned the slight nerf they had, and there were certain Iron Hands players that were crying very salty tears over that. But the thing is with that, with Iron Hands, all right, you've lost your 5-up invul. Take a Derrideo Dreadnought with the thing on it. Put it on somebody else's 200 points on a Sky Shield landing pad.
Yeah,
you can fit 3 executions on that easily.
Yeah. What I didn't like is I didn't like the Faith and Fury book very much at all, if I'm honest. I didn't like the fact that they jammed all the Space Marine stuff in there. I did like the Black Templar supplement. I read that and thought, if Blood Angels get half of this, I'm a happy man. Right?
Yeah, I think Black Templars could have done with a little bit more, but they're still doing well already.
But I then turned to the Chaos pages. And if anybody has watched Tabletop Tactics review of this, Chef hit the nail on the head. And why?
Yeah.
Why could he said it exactly. Why could you not just add 1 sentence at the end of the Legion trait? If all units in your army comprise of World Eaters, Emperor's Children, whatever, then every model gets access to the Legion trait.
Yeah.
On top of that, why do Space Marines now have a second chapter trait, right? Mm-hmm. So Iron Hands is reroll 1s for heavy weapons if you stay still, and then
you don't have to stay still. It's
5
reroll 1s
or something.
You reroll 1s with the heavy weapon if you move or not. It basically makes it irrelevant.
Right.
And
they Overwatch on 5s, don't they?
Yeah, the Overwatch on 5s.
So the Overwatch on 5 and they go 6 up, ignore wounds. Then, so they've got 2 chapter traits. Then if the Heavy Doctrine is active, you get to reroll the 1s. So Space Marines have 3, 2 plus a super chapter trait.
Yep.
Chaos get half a 1.
We all said, like, we're talking to the guys at our club, if they just had the Space Marine Codex with a few minor bits, it didn't have with the original chapter traits, they still would have been extremely powerful.
Yeah.
Extremely powerful.
They didn't need the second trait.
Not at all. But what you're noticing a lot with the stratagems now is that there are a lot of, and it's what Bane said the other day, is that a lot of the stratagems now are about tweaking smaller units or lesser used units to make them more powerful or making units a little bit more powerful.
Which is what I loved about Blood of Baal, because if you read what's in there, right? If you read what's in there, there's about 3 stratagems for Death Company.
Yep.
There's, I think, 4 for Sanguinary Guard. There's 1 for the Death Mask ability. There's 1 for the damage to count as 2. There's 1 to reroll hit wounds with the Angelus Bolters.
Yes.
And I was like, this is good. They are encouraging people to use Blood Angel units.
And you will see them.
Apart from Baal Predators.
See,
Don't go there.
I still reckon you can use them.
Why? Why would you pay points for a Predator, right, with a twin assault cannon and 2 heavy bolters, when you can actually buy a Razorback with a twin assault cannon, and if you paid for 2 heavy bolters. On top of that, it's less.
They've had a points drop.
No, they haven't.
Did they not? I thought
Nope.
they did.
90 points.
Damn it. They need a points drop. There you go.
Do you know what?
No, you're all right.
You're
going to take the bog standard Predator every day of the week.
Right. If
Predator autocannon and heavy bombs.
If Killshot worked on Baal Predators, I'm not kidding you, you'd see Dakar Preds for days, right?
Sure. 100%.
Or if they changed the stratagem Lucifer pattern engines, you basically are auto advance 6 inches with a Baal Predator. Why would you ever do that? You wouldn't. Change it. So, but I mean, yes, we've got big guns never tire. That helps. It does, right? But you've got other stuff that you're going to use that on.
Yeah, or every day of the week. Yeah, no, you're right. You're just going to take a standard, either the Trilaz Pred, or you're going to take, for a cheaper option, the autocannon Pred with the heavy bolters. Because you still get the same amount out. All right, you're not getting the amount of Dakar, but you've got the range, and you're doing a lot of damage with them in the Devastator Doctrine.
Exactly.
So yeah, you're going to take those. The Tactical Doctrine is okay. I think it's got potential. But you're only ever going to use that as a stepping stone. It's not like for Ultramarines, where it's worth getting into the Tactical Doctrine and sitting in it.
Do you know what I would have liked? Instead of the stratagem to turn back the doctrines, turn it forward.
Well, everyone said the same thing. There should be a way. A lot of people were saying that actually the doctrines need to be is actually they need to consistently move, so that every turn they have to change. But for a CP, you can move them back or forth.
Yeah.
Because Iron Hands are never coming out of the Devastator Doctrine.
No.
Ultramarines are quite comfortable in the Devastator Doctrine and are even more comfortable in the Tactical Doctrine.
Yeah.
Imperial Fists, again, they're not too shabby in the Devastator Doctrine, but they're better when they're in the Tactical. But they never want to be in the Assault, realistically.
No.
And it's the same with the Salamanders.
If you forced Marine players to change them each turn, it would force you to think about the army a little bit more in the way that it's played. But
also the way you build it.
Well, exactly.
Because
you'll take units that would have to work in the Tactical Doctrine,
and that have to work in the Assault. So you'd have to build a 3-pronged army. And you go, do you know what? I need to be ready. All right, because I can do a double battalion. So I'm rocking 10 CP, 11 CP, because I probably, unless you're a moron, you've used 2 CP for Chapter Master. Because why the hell would you ever not want to pay that? Because it's ridiculous.
Because Dante sucks.
Yeah, why isn't he already a Chapter Master so you don't have to pay it?
No.
No, but
right. I love.
That's one thing I thought.
I love Dante. Dante is amazing, right? Even as a Blood Angel fan, I wish they'd killed him off.
Yeah.
No, I do.
I know what you mean.
He's a tired old man. He's fed up. He's had enough, right? Let him go.
Yeah.
Mephiston is Primaris. Let Mephiston take over the chapter.
They've already basically said that when you look at the trailer.
Yeah.
Mephiston's been the one has gone across the Rubicon.
Because Dante is actually fighting side by side with Mephiston.
Unless the other rumour that I've heard is that when it comes to the redoing of the Blood Angel book, that Dante will be the next one, that he'll be the poster boy for the Blood Angel one, so he gets his Primaris upgrade.
We'll see. But like I said, I wish they'd killed him off, right? Because his Warlord trait is terrible. Who cares about being fearless as a Space Marine player?
Yeah, it's irrelevant.
Why has he only got D3 damage on the Axe Mortalis?
Yeah, nothing of that. Nothing's changed.
Why? Why is he 150 points now? Yes, it's better than what it was, right? But he's a master tactician, right? When the Salamanders and the Ultramarines and the Blood Angels were all fighting the Orcs, Manius Kalgar and Tushan both let Dante lead the 3 chapters.
Yeah.
Right? Why does Azrael get 2 command points in an invulnerable bubble and get the 5 command points for the same points? Why is Azrael better in combat than Dante, who took the head of a Hive Tyrant? A Swarm Lord, even?
Sometimes it strikes me as that they get certain people to do the rules of one character and then they get the intern to write the other one. And it's just like, What the hell? Why have you done that?
If Dante was 125, right, I'd probably take him. Right?
Yeah.
He would not be my warlord. Because the issue you've got, right, is a captain with a storm shield and power fist now, we'll use a power fist for comparison, is higher strength. Can be
and also
has a better invuln.
Yeah.
You can make him Death Company, so he's got more attacks on the charge.
And you can increase the damage of the power fist.
Exactly. Why would I take Dante at 150 points over a Smash Captain with a power fist at 120 something with a better invuln? Don't get me wrong, Dante has got a 2-up armor save.
Yeah.
But your Smash Captain's got a 3-up invuln and a 6-up feel no pain likely.
Yeah, so you're always going to take that. Yeah, no, Dante's a shame because he's even though the model is fairly old, it's still a nice looking model. Like he's not a bad looking fella still. It's just it's all about I think the way they've lent it now is all about Mephiston now, because obviously they want to sell the model. I get that.
Fantastic! I can't wait to get mine and paint them up.
Yeah, he's stunning. He's absolutely stunning model. I think he's one of the, and I've actually quite liked all the new Primera stuff they brought out. I think they've all looked pretty good.
Yeah,
and I think Mephiston's my favourite.
Absolutely.
I'm looking forward to Ragnar when he comes out.
Yes. I think he's one of the oldest Space Marine sculpts. He's even older than Dante, actually.
I've always been a huge Space Wolf fan, and I'm very excited about that.
Do you know that Calgar's actually had 4 models? So he had his very old original one.
That's the one where he's sitting down, isn't it?
Yep. He then had his power armor one with the 2 fists.
Yes.
Which one in the air, one out in front. He then had his Terminator armor.
Right. That's the one.
And then he's got his new armor impressiveness, which is half damage, 8 wounds, Papa Smurf's baby.
Oh, he's a big stick. He's an absolute monster.
He's tremendous. He's so... Dante should walk all over him.
Yeah. But he's currently, he barely walks.
I know, because Abaddon with Dracnian.
And Abaddon's had a points drop.
He's good, he's not amazing.
No, but with a points drop, you're not going to shy away from him too much, I think. Yeah, right, you're probably going to take the chainsword warlord on with a jump hack. Yeah. Most of the time. But he's still a bit of a beat stick and can still wade through a lot of things.
He's really good. The fact he gives reroll all hits to Black Legion is fantastic.
Yeah, Black Legion's tasty.
But Chaos in general.
Yeah, a bit of a letdown. I think what I was surprised about the book with that one, it's like they've just stuck 2 different books together. They've gone, like you said earlier, the Space Marines with everything, and then they've just gone, yeah, all right, there's some really tasty combos with the Chaos stuff.
It's like a slap in the face when you look back at the Chaos Space Marine Codex 2. Like, what was that book?
It's a waste of time.
Absolutely. If these stratagems, warlord traits, and relics had been in that book, great, fine.
Yeah.
Right? But it doesn't change the fact that your Mauler Fiends, your what they're called, the ones with the guns on.
Oh, Forge Fiends.
Forge Fiends, Defilers. Do you know, like none of them get the chapter trait. I would absolutely love my World Eater Mauler Fiend to get an extra attack.
And what do World Eaters get?
Some stratagems.
But not enough.
No, don't get me wrong. The stratagems, I read the World Eaters once thoroughly, because obviously I've got World Eaters. They've got some very tasty stratagems, but that does not fix the issue with Chaos Space Marines.
And they're one of the weakest. The World Eaters were one of the weakest of the group.
I'll tell you a combo that I want to try, right? So, 10 Terminators, dual lightning claws on everybody, right? So you play the stratagem to turn them into Corn Berserkers so they can fight twice. Right?
Yeah.
You play the Death to the False Emperor stratagem, which means that it triggers on 6s no matter who you hit, or 5s if it's an Imperium unit. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
You go Veterans of the Long War, +1 to wound.
Alright, yeah.
And then you also then play the other stratagem to increase the AP of your weapons by 1.
That's a lot of strats.
It is.
It's very, very CP hungry.
You remember I said I killed 30 boys with 7 berserkers and they didn't even fight twice?
Imagine if you did fight twice.
Yeah,
Well,
I went with chainswords with -1 AP for extra attacks.
That's pretty filthy.
And
they're one of the weakest ones out of that.
I even paid 2 CP to interrupt to do that as well.
You bloody hell! But I think the problem is though, and through a few of them, Night Lords have had some really good. Well, they got some brutal war gear and stratagems out of that. I think you'll be seeing a lot more Night Lords armies out there, and Emperor's Children as well. They're probably one of the best out of all of them. There's some filth from that, but they just didn't get quite enough. I think
I'd have been
Chaos...
happy if they turned around and said, right, all units in your army, if they comprise entirely of World Eaters, Emperor's Children, gain the Legion ability. Oh, by the way, your Legion ability does this as well.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do, James. Two or three sentences on 6 pages. Done.
I still think it's going to happen. I strongly... I think we're on the cusp of 9th edition. And I think the Space Marine book... I don't think we'll have a 9th edition. What I think we'll do is 8.5.
Not even that, it'll just be 8th edition, but he's your newest up-to-date rulebook with all the rules in. Because when they released the mini rulebook a few months ago, it was like, what's the point in it? Because nothing in it is correct anymore.
Yeah.
And like, I went in the GW Metro Centre last week when I went to the Metro Centre, and a guy was picking up the 40k rulebook, and I genuinely felt bad. I was like, hang on, you're going to spend like, I think it's like 40 quid for the big book. Hang on, you're going to spend 40 quid on that, and it's useless. But it's not my place to...
No.
If the staff weren't there, I would have said, like, if I was in my local, I'd have said that. Do you know what I mean?
I'd do it.
I said, no, you want to do this, get them books instead.
And this is where it's, I don't know, we keep harking about what the chef says and what Bone says and what everyone else has been saying, but it's something that actually Chef made a very good point. Is that the rule books, and to a degree probably the codex, should all be online with a free update. Yeah. Because what I find infuriates me a little bit with it, and no one would say that we don't say they need to make money, and you could charge a monthly subscription and people would pay it easily. Would pay it.
Oh yeah.
It's the fact that you get an army and you go, brilliant, I've got this army, it's brilliant, and then you buy. All right, I've got the rule book. All right, within a few weeks, a few months, that's out of date, massively out of date. You've got the chapter, and please, people, do not in any way think I'm having a dig at the fact they're actually updating the rules and actually listening to the community. That's not what I'm saying.
It's fantastic that they do, because throughout 7th edition, if you got an FAQ, you were blessed.
Yes, 100%. And I think it's brilliant what they're doing. What I find slightly irritating is the fact that it's another, like we were saying earlier, it's another book you have to carry. You know, it's like, oh, right, brilliant. So now I've got the rule book, I've got the FAQ. The chapter approved, and then I've got the FAQ that follows shortly after the chapter approved to readdress all the issues that they missed because the book was printed 6 months ago. So you're going to have what you're going to have in a month, 2 months maybe, is a massive FAQ for all the stuff that's wrong, all the points they've got wrong because this was printed so long ago has then got to be updated. And I think that's what I find slightly like. If it was an online PDF that you just download, I'd have much, and you were paying £5 a month, £3 a month, £5 a month, or your gold membership gives you whatever, I don't know. I would have much less problem with that, and they'd still be making their money. Yeah. Easily. And they wouldn't have the printing costs with half of it.
Nope, because I imagine that's not cheap. And then, of course, shipping.
Yeah. And I love having a codex. But I'm so reluctant to buy them because I just know that it's going to be wrong or out of date or just not right in almost imminently.
Yeah. So anyway, we're going to stop ranting about that now.
I promised I wouldn't chef rant. I promised I'd let you down.
But yeah, Chaos. They need
Chaos was more. A shame. Yeah. And I think they'll get it. I think you're going to see a few more bits and pieces for them. And I think with the stuff they have got, it harkens back to chapter approved to a degree with the point stops.
Against armies that aren't Space Marines, they do enough.
And they're going to do some real work now. But I think it gives them, I'm not saying a level playing field with Space Marines, but it gives them an opportunity to do some damage against Space Marines now. And there are some, there certainly will be more competitive builds that come out that are good, and it boils down to being the player rather than just picking the easiest codex to play. I think you're going to have to really think about your Chaos Army and what you want it to achieve. Do you want to throw everything forward and be a smash face army where you're going to get loads of Khorne Berserkers and Terminators dropping in with Lord Discordance running up? I don't know. I think you're going to have to really, 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 really think about your play style and what you want to do. And you've got Alpha Legion are still going to be really good, and they've had some buffs. So are they going to be the new sort of sit back and shoot army for Chaos? And I suppose the good thing about it is you can mix and match without losing any benefits.
That is true.
So there is the ability to soup it up even more. So I think that you may well find that Chaos is going to be, probably you could argue at the moment, is now Space Marines have lost the soup ability. One of the strongest soup armies. I think they're definitely going to be going forward one of the strongest soup armies.
Mm-hmm. So, obviously, we discussed Ritual of the Damned at the beginning.
Yes.
For Dark Angels and Grey Knights. God bless Grey Knights, and let's hope that they actually come off where people actually now contemplate playing them. Because at the minute, people aren't even contemplating them.
Well, I will say my friend Alex at the club is painting a Grey Knights army, and that's the army he's playing next year for all the tournaments and all the leagues. And he may well have made a very good choice, because if they get doctrines, get a readdress of some of the CP costs of some of their stratagems and some new stratagems and war gear, and whatever's going to be, whatever their new model may be, I think they could be the new Death Watch. The new DACA drop-in waste face, throw out psychic stuff.
I mean, it's not going to help them, but like if everybody had access to Gate of Infinity, or if they could, not necessarily Deep Strike Turn 1, but like if I don't know, they play nothing like what they did in 7th. In 7th, they were all over the place. They were in reserve. They were jumping around, and they can't do that.
All the characters should be able to do D3 mortal wounds on their smite. The units stay as 1 mortal wound, but the character should be able to do D3.
But it shouldn't be 12 inches either. It should be 18 still.
Yeah, 100%. And that may be something they address with new rules or new abilities that actually maybe make I don't know what the Grey Knights have, whether they have houses or whether particular.
I don't know what the term is, but I know what.
No, I don't. Yeah, so whether they give you that ability to actually go, well, actually, this group of Grey Knights are able to increase the range of their smite. This group, the characters are all supreme psychics and do D3 multiple wounds. This one, the units have access to be able to do 2 psychic abilities.
It's one thing It's one thing I was surprised at the Adeptus Custodius book. Obviously, you've got, I can't remember the name of the again what they're called, but Brins, who's appeared on the channel. His Dark Custodians, like the Shadow or some ones.
Yeah,
I can't remember the name of them, but he was quite surprised that they didn't have like their own rules, because that's what he expected when he looked in the book. It was like, oh well,
God, what the hell are Custodians going to get?
I don't know. Oh God, we didn't even think about that, did we?
No, I did not talk to you.
So anyway, the 5th book in the series is called The Greater Good, which is obviously Tau. But Tau and who?
Yeah, that's the tricky one. Is that going to be the Harlequins one? I don't see. Harlequins are too middle ground. I've heard Necrons, because nothing's been mentioned for them. But then could the Harlequins be up against Necrons later on?
Because they were missing from Rise of the Phoenix.
Oh, that infuriated me so much. Especially where the trailer has a damn Shadow Seer in it. It's just like, oh, come on, give me something here. There's quite a few races left that have had nothing mentioned. So Whether they're going to push them into a couple, or whether there's more books to follow down the line. So we've got the books coming up, and then we got next year's releases. But then again, that's a long time for Space Marines to be at the top.
Well, I mean, the 6th book is Saga of the Beast, and these are supposed to be coming out in January, February, and March, respectively. So Saga of the Beast is probably likely to be Orcs and Space Wolves. There's no reason why it should be anything else.
That seems very logical, yeah.
But what armies does that leave out? So, based on what we know about Ritual of Damn, we know that there's Dark Angels, Thousand Suns, and Grey Knights.
Yeah.
Right? We know Greater Good is going to be Tau, and we can make
probably
a very educated guess that Saga of the Beast is Wolves and Orcs. That leaves Necrons, Harlequins, Death Guard,
Death Watch,
and Genestealer Cult.
What did the Astra Militarum get?
Oh yeah, they didn't get anything either.
So that's them as well.
Yeah.
Well, hang on. So the first book is all the craft. Well, no, I didn't say, and it was only Craftwells and Drukhari, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So yeah, there was only 2. So I was trying to work out because a lot of them had 3 in. So obviously the Harlequins have missed out the first one. Yeah. So it sounds like the others would probably be the 2. So yeah, Tau Necrons would be sensible, I guess, or it could be like you said earlier, Tau maybe Genestealer Cult.
Mm-hmm. Or even Death Watch.
Or even Death Watch. There's still a lot to come out.
I think we've got at minimum 2 more books, probably 3.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It's going to be interesting. Very interesting.
Admech.
Yeah, I forgot them as well, didn't we?
And obviously we know they're getting the new flyer, so are they getting a second codex? Or are they simply getting updates in...
I think that they may well be due. Well, it's a lot of updates, but then they have done that with a few other things, put all the extra stuff into one book. So maybe they are, but I think Sisters of Battle Codex is out next year.
I don't think that'll get. I don't think that'll be included.
No, I don't. But what I think is that maybe that's the start of the reburn of the next lot of codices.
Mm-hmm.
Will be the Sisters, and then from then on you'll be getting a regular codex release as well.
You've also got Knights
and Chaos Knights.
Yep.
I mean, if they said logically, you would do Chaos Knights. Knights would be an easy one to do. Just chuck them in the one book and do it like that. Just we're done then. But yeah, do they? And they're not going to bother doing Inquisition because they're too small. Like I say, Sisters have just had theirs, so they're unlikely to get anything. Maybe they get a token thing because they've got a load of new. Well, they've got so many new stuff, so much new stuff coming out next year anyway. They don't need it anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be very, very interesting. It's hard to say at the moment. And
I've got a question for you as we come towards the end now. At the end of all of this psychic awakening, what awakens? What happens? What is this building up to?
Well, we've kind of been semi-discussing it, and it was what I said to you earlier. I wonder whether it's Kegarak.
See, I wouldn't be surprised at Angron.
Yeah, new Primarch.
And they openly said that it wouldn't necessarily go Chaos Imperial. Because everyone's expecting Russ or the Lion to be next, right?
And they will be coming.
Oh yeah, they'll come. They will. But I think it's going to be Angron.
Or is it going to be Chaos Russ and I'll be very sad?
No, I genuinely think Angron, right? Because
that'd be a good model.
It would, but not just that. Like Bobby G's going to go, oh crap, what do I do?
Yeah.
Oh no, the Imperium's in peril. Help us. And then just in the nick of time, Russ is going to be like, look, I don't like you. Stay away from us. I'll go and deal with Angron. You go and divvy-dally across the galaxy. That's what I think will happen.
Well, there was talk quite a while ago now of a split between the Loyalist forces.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of talk of it being Space Wolves and a few others that go, no, we're not having anything to do with the Primaris, and just splitting off. And there was rumours of that Russ would come back, and that would be the other focal point. and that one of the new boxes would be almost Imperium versus Imperium. But no one's ever done a Primarch in a box, so I doubt that would happen. But that was one of the rumours a while ago, which would be very interesting. But yeah, Angron would be awesome. It would be.
I honestly wouldn't be surprised at an announcement of a Primarch in the next 3-4 months. I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, Magnus came out. How long's the 8th edition been out? 2.5 years. So yeah. Magnus came out 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Guilliman came out 2 years ago.
And there was Mortarion, wasn't it?
And then Morty came out. No, was Guilliman after Morty? No, Guilliman was at the end of 7th with the.
Yes, Guilliman was first. Then it was the two Heretic. So yeah, Guilliman first, and then you had Magnus, and then Morty.
No, it was definitely Magnus first, because he came up with 1,000 Sun Codex in 7th. And then
sorry, yes.
Oh, what was the 3-tier book called when Cadia fell and stuff?
I can't remember, because I wasn't that was the end of 7th when I wasn't paying too much attention.
Yeah, well, then books came out because they released the Yanari models. They released Guilliman alongside Celestine and Greyfax and Voldus.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Morty came out not long after 8th edition dropped. So, to be honest, it's actually been 2 years since we had a Primarch.
Yeah, so we're about due.
Yeah. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised at something on Christmas Day alongside... I want to say alongside the Dark Angel preview and stuff, which kind of implies that it might be the Lion. It might not be, but I'm expecting something big in the next couple of months.
There'd be a massive Christmas release. It's going to be something that they're going to expect. That's going to be a shocker. I heard a lot of people talk about Fulgrim as well.
Yeah, and when the first book was announced as Phoenix Rising, obviously Fulgrim is the Phoenix.
Yeah.
And obviously with everything going on with the Eldar, obviously, Fulgrim, Slaanesh, Eldar detest Slaanesh, and,
Yeah.
I did expect that at the time.
Well, there's always been the rumour that one of the heretical Primarchs would not go good, but switch sides. Mm-hmm. And the other way as well. There was right back at the very, very beginning when the Primarchs started to be released. There was that, I think someone said there was like 2 walls. One loyalist would go bad and one bad would go loyal. And there was a lot of talk. Everyone assumed it would be Mortarion because he's always been reluctant in his role. Like he's always just been sort of thrown in.
Yeah.
Although he's probably too far down the line to change back. But
I think the Lion will go bad because with everything that's been going on with the new Fallen rules and everything.
That'd be yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was the Lion, and obviously.
And he's a bit arrogant anyway, so he's very likely to want to think he can do better. And I'm just upsetting all the Dark Angel fans now. He's probably likely to think he can turn the tide of battle his way, and Guilliman's not doing it right. So yeah, that would still be interesting. And then you could have Russ come and kill the Lion. It'd be amazing.
Yeah, and then you get a lot of really angry Dark Angel fans.
Really dangerous. And there's some really smug Space Wolf fans.
But yeah, I think 2020 is going to be incredibly exciting for 40k. I think we're going to have a lot of big releases. I don't think we'll get 9th edition, but we'll certainly get whatever 8th edition is becoming. I think it'll certainly hit home in 2020.
I think the only thing that makes me think of 9th edition is we're perilously close to the same problems that were at the end of 7th edition, which is you've got the bloat of all the rules. You've got armies now becoming really big again. Like my current 2000 Quinn's army is I've got about 200 odd extra points now with all the points drops.
I remember when I went to No Retreat 2017, right? I had a single Death Jester, a Solitaire, I had 2 Shadow Seers, 2 Troop Masters, 15 Troop, 6 Bikes, 3 Star Weavers, 3 Void Weavers.
Yeah.
and that was 2,000 points back then.
Yeah, no, and I think
I only had 2 fusions per squad.
Yeah. The funny thing is with the Queens, like I said to you earlier, I think with the changes, some of the changes that we sort of talked about earlier, you could have an army that small and it would still be A, uber resilient, and B, uber powerful, but not broken powerful.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's face it, it's a dice game. You fail in bonds all the time, but you would still just imagine with the abilities they've got and with the abilities for Troop Master to do the reroll stuff. Even if 2 troop guys made into your lines, they're going to wreck face. At the moment, they just hit and they go, nothing really happens unless you get really lucky.
Yeah.
So I just, again, like I said, I don't think Quins really needed the points cut. I think they need a rules address. I think it's the same with a lot of the other armies. All you're doing is bloating it again.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the tournaments have changed to 2,000. Well, they originally dropped down to 1,500 points at the start of 8 because the armies were smaller, the games were quicker, and they were a lot more tactical. And then as the points have been addressed and changed, and they tried to increase it to make them more interesting because people want to take all the new tools and toys. Now it's just getting back to how it was. And it made me very nervous when Vigilus came out and they started adding the detachments again.
Yeah, that was annoying.
I was worried it was getting back to when you were getting all your Razorbacks free.
Yeah.
And you're getting all your drop pods free. You know, you think, oh, bloody hell, this is getting silly again. And I think it's on the cusp of what, certainly with Space Marines, it's already there. Of it being a silly game where you've got, like, I played, and like I say, I've got a quite competitive suit list, and I played my mate Alex with his Ultramarines. Turn 1, I'm ready. But because of the Invicta war suits and, oh God, what are the troops guys that can also...
infiltrators.
Infiltrators as well. I was boxed into a corner. He went first. With the amount of rerolls he had the lieutenant with the relic that enables him to reroll hits and wounds, so he's basically a mini chapter master. So he sat with 2 Contemptor dreadnoughts with 4 las cannons. Turn 1, I lost 3 Crimson Hunter Exarchs, half a unit of my Quinn Spikes, and we were playing ITC rules, so I went for recon because I had the flyers, not after turn 1. And I'd lost half my bikes turn 1.
Yeah. And
I got 1 recon point, and I wasn't able to get out of my deployment zone. And he went off that. It was we just laughed about it, and he went, "It's just stupid." I said, "I'm not playing this army again. I will not play it because it's no fun. Because when you've got an army as maneuverable as yours and you cannot move it, what's the point? There's no interaction between the players." It's one player rolling all their dice and re-rolling everything essentially and killing you.
Yeah.
And there's just no fun. And that's my concern about where we are at the moment. And I think, all right, yeah, the meta is sort of evening out a bit, and actually people are working out ways to beat Space Marines. But it just pigeonholes you into taking certain things you may not have or want to get or doesn't fit in with your army. And I think you just got in a situation where you're just stuck, and you end up taking Space Marines to beat Space Marines. Or you got Tau Gunline. Well, it's not even Tau Gunline anymore. It's Triptide, which are pretty good against Space Marines. Actually, Tau are pretty good at the moment against Space Marines.
No, I totally agree with you. Totally agree. So hopefully, things in 2020 will rebalance a little bit, and I think if the rest of the armies get updates to coincide, I mean, we're not going to stop the boot bloat. It's a shame that we're not.
No.
But if other armies are brought up to the same tier as Space Marines, then I think it could go back to being a fun game. I mean, me personally, I wouldn't say I fell out of love with 40k. I'm just enjoying Sigmar so much more at the minute.
Well, it's funny you should say that. Like, most of the guys who do our league at the club have started to switch to Sigmar.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it's like, and it sounds a bit tough. We pretty much said the league games, which are our competitive 40k ones, we've pretty much said you don't play Space Marines in it.
Yeah.
Just don't do it. Blood Angels, all right. And there's certain ones you can, like Blood Angels, I don't think are OP. Like, I think they've got some strong builds, but I don't think they're, because of the nature of how they work and that ability to have to get to turn 3 before they really do some damage. By that time, their units are depleted. So, yeah, they're hitting, but they're hitting like
they're hitting half an army.
Yeah, so a 3-man Sanguinary squad is hitting as hard as a full squad, but that's all they've got left by that time.
Yeah.
Or, you know, and the same with the Death Company, unless you're dropping them in a turn 3, and then you still got to get a bit lucky. So I think they're Templars were reasonable. They were reasonable. I think Raven Guard are strong, very, very strong, but require some forethought and planning more than a lot of the others.
Ultras and Iron Hands are just silly.
Yeah, daft as a box of badgers.
So we're going to call it there. Hopefully, there's going to be some, really, really big updates coming in 2020. I'm really excited.
Yes,
and certainly, Blood of Baal has definitely rekindled my love for my Blood Angels, and you will be seeing them on the YouTube channel a lot more. As they've been retired to the shelf since the Space Marine came out. I think most Blood Angel players have probably felt the same. I want me Deathwatch back out though, and at the minute there's no reason to use them because Space Marines are better.
Yeah, I think Deathwatch are going to be another very interesting one. I hope they don't go silly with them because I think they just need a minor tweak here and there to be really good.
Absolutely, give them Doctrines and they're not that far off.
Oh, I think Doctrines is almost enough, but they'll have to have something else.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, guys, thank you very, very much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the chat. James, thank you very much for joining me.
Pleasure, mate.
Make sure you are following us not only on YouTube and Twitch, guys, for battle reports and live hobby streams. Make sure you follow the Facebook page, Instagram, Twitter, and of course, if you're interested in just the podcast side of things, we are on Anchor FM, Spotify, and of course iTunes. But stay tuned because next week, well, in 2 weeks' time, will be the Age of Sigmar podcast, where we'll be discussing probably the Slaves to Darkness. And by the time we get back around to the next 40k one, James, we are very likely to know what is in Ritual of the Damned.
Yeah, that'd be really good.
So thank you very much for watching, folks, and we'll see you again sometime soon.
Goodbye, all.